Hi. Thank,
Hi.
thank you so much. This is phenomenal and fantastic. So, I was having all kinds of light bulb moments when you were talking, and I've been really working on my mindset. So I have my first group program that I had been thinking about in my head for like 5 years.
Yeah.
It starts next week, and I started recruiting for it about 6 weeks ago. And I feel like I've been doing all the things. And, I was thinking of Pareto's Law, and for me, I thought it was doing these webinars, which included some meditation, because some of the parts of what I'm going to do is mindfulness and meditation. And with each webinar, I was registering women. And then last night was technically my last webinar. And I'm realizing now that I think the energy that I went into it was not great. And so I've probably talked to 3 or 4 of the potentials, and I haven't registered any of them. And I think
Mhm.
there was definitely some pressure, but I also think like mentally I wasn't okay. There was this really terrible, tragic thing that happened in my neighborhood that, just 48 hours ago, a 13-year-old girl was kidnapped and killed. And, she was missing for a few hours. So everybody was looking for her. And then they found the body. It's like this horrible, horrible,
Yeah.
unimaginable, and
Yeah.
it affects everyone in the community. There had just been a vigil. I just came, you know what I mean? So I think I brought some of that energy with me.
Get it.
And I'm like, did I just totally screw everything because I don't have another webinar? And I'm like only half full, if that.
I love it. Well, here's the thing, right? So this is really good. And I think you really highlighted some of the things already, but let's start off this way. What happens if you don't sign anymore? Is that what's going to happen? If you only have that many, tell me everything. What's the worst case scenario? Let's say that you don't sign anybody else.
Well, then I would just have 5 women
Okay.
in a small group program.
Okay.
And I would still do the whole thing, and
Okay.
I would put my heart and soul into it.
Okay.
And I would make like, a quarter or half of what I thought I could earn.
Right. Okay. So worst case scenario is you're making money. You're giving amazing value to 5 women who are so excited to dive in. You have a whole potential to gain testimonials. You have this whole other purpose that this program really could be used for if needed. And that's worst case scenario. Okay. So like we didn't even talk about best case scenario. That's like worst case. So you're winning. Like so in your mind, right? Because we're high achievers. We want to go all in. We want to pick our number. We want to get it done. But for argument's sake, right? It's getting the mindset around that piece. Well, what if? And how am I going to show up? And how am I going to utilize this in a different way? How am I going to? Maybe you'll try new things. Maybe you'll whatever. And now let's talk about your goal. So your goal is to enroll 5 more women, right?
Right.
Perfect. And based on all these webinars, do you have, I guess, an email list generated from that or a way to contact and whatnot?
I do. I probably have 30 or more who I thought would be really good potentials. And I have really tried to sort of contact each of them, and they each had different objections over the little bit. I mean, there's still probably 5 or 6 that I could still contact directly.
Perfect. So the idea is this, right? So we have, I mean, it'd be one thing if you're like, no, you know what? I never got their emails. Crazy. Funny how that happens. Just forgot to get it. But no. See, you've planned ahead. You're great in your business. You know what you're doing. And we have 5 spots we're gonna fill, right? Now we'll talk about the mindset piece last, but for right now, like strategy wise, well, and Dr. Una can obviously she's the lead on this, but might be a nice time to have Q&A. I've had so many questions come up, and these are really, really good questions. I want to make sure I can answer them all. I'm actually putting together a Q&A. I think this will be really useful. And you plan the Q&A and you record it and you send out the recording. And to be quite honest, I mean, and I'm going to tell you all the believe me, I've been right where you are, right? You get creative. If you really want to fill those 5 spots, you get really creative and you're like, well, what do you know? For this program, since it's my beta program, I'm adding, like, I'm doing this. Like, you kind of give like some kind of bonus that is super exciting for them. and you make it, I mean, people really do like, I'm just giving you ideas, but the idea is to get FaceTime with them again because you already have a warm audience. So this 30 is your warm audience. So, invite them to a Q&A, right? And then maybe you're adding some kind of nice little added bonus type thing. And the mindset piece is like, if your result that you want is enroll, and I saw that in the comments early on, is to enroll 5 more, the action. So you're gonna, again, there's a lot of actions you can do. Q&A, add a bonus. You could, there's so many different things. Like I used to have something where I had like this cell phone number that wasn't really my cell phone number, and they could text me. And so I said, my title on my email was, my cell phone number's inside. I'm not kidding. And like people texted me, and I sold a couple programs that way. No joke. I said my cell phone, like it's basically called text. I'll get the name for you. I can't remember off the top of my head. I had to since close it because then everybody thought that was my cell phone. And
I do have a work text that I could send them that works.
Okay. So ready? Q&A is coming up.
Yeah.
Right. Bonus this. My cell phone's inside. I'm not kidding. I would do that as the lead title. They open it up, like my cell phone's inside and a Q&A and or whatever. And then they, can come to the Q&A. They can text you any questions. And you can even get on the phone with them for a couple minutes if you really wanted to. So these are like just all potential action steps. As I'm starting to talk about this, what's coming up for you?
I think I can do all of it. Yeah.
Are you getting excited?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Right? Okay,
yeah.
So you're getting excited because what are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking they're just waiting for me to do this next little thing.
Yes. Yes. And if you show up with that thought and that energy, listen, maybe you don't enroll anymore, but you've given it your best effort yet. And that's what matters. And you're gathering more data. But I guarantee you, if you have that thought and you show up with that energy, you're going to sign more people.
Okay, got it. It's so weird. I had 2 separate contacts like contact me with like, oh my God, look at all these notes that this friend of mine took. It was like 4 pages of notes and they were like amazing and astounding. And it changed her life. And I was like, great. Does she want to talk to me? Does she want to get in? Oh no, she's not ready. Okay. And then there was another friend who was like, oh my God, this woman, her whole life, she said, changed. And at the end of the meditation, she saw all these lights and it was so amazing. And I was like, great. Does she want more of that? No. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
I mean, at least I guess I made an impact on these women. That's great. So I'll take that, but it's just so bizarre.
Well, and they might be clients in a year from now.
Okay.
Like, to be honest with you, that is really a lot of how it happens. They'll be your clients a year from now. And so that's why I want you to say, like, the reason why I went with the beginning of, well, what if it's 5? Because I know it's hard because you had a different goal, but it's actually a huge success. You're having 5 people saying, I want to pay you for this service. Like, I want to pay your business because I believe that this can help me. And so the fact that you have proof of concept, you have it, which means it's able to be replicated, which makes me really confident that you have a warm audience that you can just, the phone thing, people like that. And I'm, and so just you're reconnecting with them, and that energy you have, feeling excited because you believe I can actually make this happen.
I can. Thank you. This is amazing. Yeah. Thank you.
And because everybody in this group knows you and has seen your journey, let me put this in perspective for you, right? You're probably charging more for your group program that you were initially charging for your one-to-ones.
Oh, for sure.
Right? Yeah. Like, so let's even start from there, right? So you went from, I charged this little for one-to-one. I almost 10x'd it. Now I had these 3 webinars with calls to action, which you've never done before, right? Like, you've never done webinars with calls to action. You've grown your email list. You have 5 people who raised their hands and said yes. And most people sign up right before you close. So which means that all these people kind of waiting for the deadline. You have all these action steps to take. You're rocking this. I'm just saying that so you can, right? Because that's what everybody else here is seeing. You are killing this. Mm-hmm. So the thought that, oh yeah, then I failed, I didn't hit fit. Like, if you put, and I'm not saying you have 2 people, if you put 2 people in there, that is a win because you ended up with 2 people. You ended up with a warmer audience. You ended up with your mailing list growing. You took steps that probably there are many doctors who will not take these steps for the next 5 years. Like, how long have you been in the school where you've already done all these transitions? So I'm not saying that to say, I hope you have 5. I hope you have 10. But my point is, you are rocking this. You have to remember who you are. You're killing this, right? And like Dr. Ali was saying, every launch builds on another, right? Like we've probably known each other for a while. The first time you heard about the business school is probably not the first time, right? So I could have been like, oh, that launch was a failure, but it wasn't because you needed X number of launches to say yes, right? So now the next time you launch, you have more people that are warm as opposed to a few people who are warm, right? So you're doing that. And like she said, the questions, that is liquid gold because behind every question is an objection. The more questions you answer, the more people will say yes. So the thing with, my cell phone number is inside, I'm not kidding, that is gold. Like gold. The more questions you answer, your VIP Q&A is the same thing. And all these people are telling you, you changed my life. I would put on there, she said I changed her life in 45 minutes. Imagine what will happen to you in a 6-week program. Like you can't even handle it. That's how good it will be, right? So you have all this, like go kill your launch. I love it. You are rocking this.
Thank you. Thank you. Amazing. Thank you.
Rocking it. I love it.
Okay, so did you guys see my big turnaround in that short and sweet coaching session? It was really cool. It changed so many things for me in just those 5 minutes with Dr. Ali and Dr. Una. And not only did I follow, I definitely followed really all of the nitty-gritty details they told me to do, but I had this huge mindset shift, which is this intangible, where I moved from feeling like this scarcity and this constriction to this real belief and unwavering faith and into this more abundant space. So I started to show up with more energy. Not only was I doing the nitty gritty, so yeah, I recorded the Q&A, I sent it, I asked, I sent my, my email. I emailed so many people with my cell phone number and I asked. I actually started to contact people personally and I asked. Yes, I got a bunch of no's, but I started to get yeses because I was showing up differently. Plus, I never stopped asking. And so it went from 5 to 6 to 7 to 8. And then finally, literally like the morning of, so it started on Friday. And so I only had 2 days to enroll 5 more people. I got to 10 the morning of the day my program started. And I was so excited. I was celebrating and the program went really, really, really well. And then right afterwards, one of the members actually bought a membership for a friend of hers because she thought this was such a high value thing for her. So now I have 11 enrolled, even though my goal was 10. And I just cannot tell you the value that I'm getting out of EntreMD. The business school is so worth my while. The biggest regret I have is to not have joined it before I did. And I would tell you, if you're even remotely on the fence of thinking about joining, just do it, because literally just those 5 minutes, and that's not even all the value I'm getting out of it, just those 5 minutes resulted in me getting 5 more clients. I don't think that I would have kept trying if I didn't have that coaching session that one night, and I wouldn't have gotten my result, right? And so I'm getting to tap into my own limitless potential, and I want you to do the same thing. So what you get out of EntreMD isn't just the nitty gritty. You get mindset shifts. You get an energy that's really different from working with physician entrepreneurs at all different places in their journey. And it's really something that, again, is tangible and also intangible, like I said. And so I want you to imagine being in this amazing group with us and tapping into your potential. You've got way more potential than you even can imagine as a physician, and certainly as a physician entrepreneur. So I hope to see you inside the EntreMD Business School.